This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. You know, if you're watching us not in Kansas, most people, especially on the East Coast, think that everything's flat and it's really dry. But we have a lot of water out here.
We do, and it's been a very wet season. It's still green in western Kansas, which is just unheard of, and there's water in places that hadn't seen water in a long time. But water is really important, and when we did our bus tour for our Western Kansas Expo a few weeks ago, Rolf Mandel, the state geologist and one of my favorite people, joined us. And one of the things that we talked about were the aquifers. So we talked about the Oglala Aquifer, but also other aquifers. And when we were at Little Jerusalem, which is the new Nature Conservancy site, not yet open to the public, but they're working on it, that's not fed by that aquifer. And so Matt Bain, the director there, was talking about the water that feeds the springs there, and it was just fascinating. So this new exhibit from Smithsonian Waterways is traveling all over the state for the next several months. They just left Eudora, had a lot of great folks come and see it there, but it's traveling all over the state, and it's talking about, you know, why water's important, and just, it sounds really simple, but I think the quote they have on the website was W.H. Auden, a lot of people have lived without love, but nobody's made it without water.
Well, that's it. Think about it. Towns and cities grew up because they started
the
next
access
to a river or a creek or
the access to water.
Yeah,
exactly. So go see it, folks.
The Kansas Humanities Council is pleased to announce an exclusive Kansas tour of Waterways, a traveling exhibition from the Smithsonian Institution. Several Kansas communities are hosting the Smithsonian exhibition for 6 weeks. The exhibit just left Eudora, where it had a very successful showing, and will be open in Colby August 12th and will remain through September 24th. Waterways focuses on the numerous relationships between people and water. How has water shaped our history and traditions? How does it impact our daily life? And what does the future hold for water? KHC sponsors Waterways in Kansas in partnership with Smithsonian Institution's Museum on Main Street program, a one-of-a-kind cultural project that serves residents of rural America. Support for the Museum on Main Street has been provided by the U.S. Congress. The other Kansas locations hosting Waterways are the Boot Hill Museum, Dodge City, the Public Library, Heston, the Gary County Historical Society, Junction City, and the museum at Prairie Fire in Overland Park. For more information, visit the Kansas Humanities Council website.
Fort Wallace stood on the frontier in the midst of the Plains Indians Wars on a major stage route and rail line. Beside the 1865 stagecoach station, a modern museum with thousands of artifacts tell that story, like the fossil of a 40-foot plesiosaur is suspended from the ceiling. Located on Highway 40 midway between Hayes and Colorado Springs, the Fort Wallace Museum is as welcome a site today as the fort itself in the 1860s. Discover the fighting sport in the West.